You want to give a countdown?
Sure.
All right. You guys, town workers, look at me. We'll do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up. There we go. The statue has been well protected and well secured. But there it is, that's your Columbus statue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin our program. I'm Gene Valicenti from WJAR and WPRO. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. Wow, what a turnout today we have. And what great weather we have.
We love Johnston.
We love Johnston. Well, we all love Johnston. Thank you.
Hey, buddy.
We're here to continue this great tradition of Italians moving up from Providence to Johnston. That's been going on for a long time.
This one?
We're here, as you know, to dedicate this statue symbolic of the genuine navigator credited with 15th century Europe's greatest discovery of the New World. Occupied by the indigenous people for centuries before that, and likely discovered by Leif Erikson and the Vikings before Columbus. We are not here to settle any historical debate. We are not here to draw a line in the sand or anything like that. We are simply here to enjoy a statue that's considered a work of art and a man and his accomplishments that are held in high regard by particularly Italian Americans. And that's why all of you are here. Welcome to all of you.
Yes.
And by the way, protest is a great tradition in America. We welcome our protesters too. There's nobody here chasing you out. You're here, and all voices must be heard. So we know you're there, but we want to continue with our program. Let me introduce all of our dignitaries who are with us today. Let's begin with Mayor Joseph Policina Sr. is here, longtime mayor. Mayor Joseph Policina Jr. He is the man of the hour. Our benefactor today, Mayor Joe Paolino Jr. is with us. Ambassador Paolino. The Italo-American Club of Rhode Island. The Italian-American War Veterans of the United States. The Italian-American Historical Society of Rhode Island. Senator David Takoyan, HMSS Senator. Representative Deb Falella. Representative Arthur Corvese. That great Italian Cranston Mayor Ken Hopkins is with us. North Providence Mayor Charlie Lombardi is with us. Coventry Town Manager Daniel Perillo. Senator Frank Ciccone. Tony DeQuattro of Operation Stand Down, Rhode Island. Father Gower, Our Lady of Grace Church. Father Carusi of St. Rocco's Church. Father Stephen Fava, Trinity Assembly of God. Rhode Island Sheriff's Department. Colonel Brendan Doherty. Dr. Patrick Conley will be addressing us in just a bit. The Piva Lodge 364 is with us. Johnston Police and Fire Departments, they look great today. Look great in the parade. Members of the Johnston Town Council and the Johnston School Committee are also with us. Let's begin our speaking program. Let's bring up the man who warmly accepted Joe Paolino's donation of the statue, got together with the volunteers to make this happen. He is your mayor, Mayor Joseph Policina Jr. Mayor?
I want to thank you all for coming out here today. I want to recognize my colleagues in local government
that are here. We have members of the Johnston Town Council, Council President Russo, Vice President Lauren Garzone, Councilman Carnavale, and Councilwoman Focarelli, as well as members of the Johnston School Committee. We have Chairman Robert LaFazia, Vice Chairman Joseph Rotella, Mary Sue Andriozzi, and Dawn Alosio here. I would also like to give a special shout out to our Senator Frank Lombardo, who set a record as far as the DEM permit goes. He got us a DEM permit in 4 days. So we're very thankful for Senator Lombardo for doing that. So there's been a long and storied history of the travel of this statue, and I am going to give you the chronological order of thank yous. So first and foremost, I want to thank Mayor Joe Paolino for donating the statue. I want to thank Rico Di Gregorio and Gregorio Construction for the transport. Joe Casali, we can hold up, there's a lot of people I got to thank, so we can hold them. Joe Casali for the engineering on the site, Bacala Concrete for providing the concrete to build the base, Di Gregorio again for constructing the base, Imperator Corporation for the 250-foot crane that came, which made a special rush visit from Gillette. I know I was told it was at Gillette at midnight, and it made it to us by 7 in the morning, so we're very appreciative of that. I also want to thank Mike Sabatoni for giving it a little extra push. He couldn't make it today, but he sends his regards. I want to thank the operating engineers, Local 57, and the iron workers, Local 37, for the actual mounting of the statue. I want to thank Jerry and Gerald St. Angelo for doing the mason work on the statue, Rossi Electric for donating and installing the lighting, the Interlini family at United Fence for the fence. I want to thank Ken Marandola at KM Security Solutions for the camera, and CP Tree Service and Central Nurseries for the landscaping. I want to thank our own laborers from Local 1491, and it has to be said, and this is what I would like to ask you for a huge round of applause for. I would like to thank our Director of Buildings and Grounds, Chris Correa. He did this all within 2 weeks, sleepless nights, but he got it done, and we're very appreciative, Chris. Thank you. So that brings me to the reason why we're here today. And when I was thinking about what I was going to say about this statue, am I going to regurgitate the history that I've been saying, that you don't judge people who lived 500 years ago based on today's standards? You know, Leif Erikson came here 500 years earlier with 2 slaves. Nobody says anything about that. Can you hear me now? Yeah, there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what this statue really means. It's a symbol of bravery, progress, faith, and sacrifice. Not just of the man that it enshrines, but of a group of people who helped shape the country that we see today. It represents a blue-eyed boy born in a tenement house in Hoboken, New Jersey in 1915, who would go on to sell 150 million records. It represents one of the first bankers in the United States to offer services to middle-class families. It represents a baseball player who, as the 1939 article in Life magazine disparaging said, he never reeks of garlic. And yes, while Sinatra captured the world, Giannini founded what we call today known Bank of America, and DiMaggio gave us the most unbeatable streak in all of sports, they are a mere microcosm of the contribution Italian Americans have given the United States. We've died in wars, constructed skyscrapers, created and acted in iconic movies, won professional championships, invented technology, and the victims of the largest single mass lynching in the United States in 1891. The history of Italian Americans is rich, filled with iconic moments forever etched in American history. But you'll never find our most important contribution written in any history book. It's because our dedication to family, faith, and hard work can never be quantified. And that's what's truly driven us to be one of the most influential ethnic groups in the history of the United States. And never forget, no one has the right to tell us how we should celebrate what we've worked so hard to achieve. Because we, like this man, are a part of not just shaping America, but the entire world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Joe Polisena Jr. Now let's bring on he really is our benefactor. He's a man who put his money where his commitment was. He believes in the statue, believes in Columbus and the message. He is the former mayor of Providence and the former ambassador to Malta. Please welcome Joseph Paolino Jr. Joe?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Mayor Polisena Jr., it's a pleasure to be in your beautiful community, and it's sure nice that you take the old man out once in a while. To all the elected officials and dignitaries that are here today, to the people of the town of Johnston. Today we gather for the inaugural Columbus Day event, a momentous occasion where we're going to unveil, and we just did, this statue that graced Columbus Square in Providence for over a century. I'm a proud Italian American like many of you, and my family immigrated to our state back in the 19th century. My family instilled in me values of determination, perseverance that have guided my life, my private life, my public life, and my business life. When I was a mayor of Providence, I enjoyed the annual tradition of laying a wreath at this wonderful statue on Columbus Day. To be here now, after 4 decades in Johnston, where many of your families came from Silver Lake and Federal Hill, because I really feel like I really am Providence. To reintroduce this statue is really remarkable. It is a testament to the growth of our state, success of our families, who perhaps like yours moved from Providence to the suburbs, fulfilling the American dream our ancestors sought over a century ago. When I heard that the former mayor of Providence had plans to remove this statue from Columbus Square in the year 2020, quite frankly, I was pissed off. The thought of this symbol of our Italian heritage being melted down to scrap metal was absolutely insane. I'm sure many of you all felt the same way. And 2 years later, the city announced it was putting the statue up for sale. Knowing what it symbolized for me, for my ancestors, for my family, for all of us as Italian Americans, I decided that I was going to try to buy it and find a new home for it. And I couldn't think of a better place than the town of Johnston. You know, in Johnston, we don't need the police to protect the statue, because we have all of you. I have to admit, though, I received a lot of pushback from people who knew me, warning that it was going to be too controversial an issue. But I was not going to stand to see this statue sent out of state or melted to scrap. It would be like melting our spirit, our pride, melting the Italian history that we all have within us. I delved into, though, the history of Columbus Day and the significance of this holiday. What I learned deep in my understanding of what being an Italian American is. In the late 19th century, just about the time that my great-grandfather, Giuseppe Paolino, immigrated to Providence, Italian immigrants faced discrimination and violence across the United States. The country was going through an economic depression, and an anti-Italian rhetoric spread across the nation because it was feared that they were taking jobs that should have been given to people that were born in America. Italians were regularly portrayed by the press as criminal and as animals, a sentiment which led to extreme violence, including the burning of churches and the random lynching of Italians. In 1891, the largest ever lynch mob on record occurred in New Orleans, when the murder of the police chief was wrongly attributed to an Italian man. A group of 11 Italians were rounded up, arrested, thrown in jail, and put on trial for the murder of this police chief, for which later they were all found not guilty. But they were still in jail. And city officials, prominent newspaper columnists, everyday citizens openly called for these Italians to be publicly executed. To think about it, to execute after you've been found not guilty. All 11 men were ripped from the prison. Normally you break out of prison. They broke into the prison to lynch these 11 Italians, and they succeeded. Well, Italian Americans and leaders of Italy were outraged by this mass lynching. Italy broke off diplomatic relations and recalled its ambassador from Washington, D.C. The lynchings even touched off talk of a war between the United States and Italy, according to the Washington Post. Recognizing the need for some serious diplomatic intervention, President Benjamin Harrison began by compensating the victims' families and by formally recognizing the many contributions Italians had made to American life. On October 12, 1892, the United States government officially established Columbus Day and urged communities to celebrate the day to honor the contributions and influence of Italians of American culture. Oops. This was the first time I heard this story. And as if that wasn't important enough, I also gained a deeper understanding of the history of the statue itself. The Columbus statue is not just a work of art, but it's a piece of national history. It was first crafted in silver. I'm sorry, I wish this was a silver one. By Frederick Bartholdi, who was the artist who created the Statue of Liberty. The original version of the Columbus statue was created for the Italian Pavilion at the first World's Fair in Chicago in 1892. The work executed at the Gore Manufacturing Company in Providence was recognized at the Expo for its detail and excellent craftsmanship, much of which was done by Italian-American artisans living and working here in Rhode Island. The following year, Gore recast the sculpture in bronze, which we have in front of us, and it was unveiled in what became known as Columbus Square on Elmwood Avenue around the corner of Gore Manufacturing. Now, a community's fabric is woven in the stories of our ancestors, connecting us to the past, reshaping our identities, and helping us plan our future. We're all Americans, united by our shared national identity that evolves as our nation grows. Today, we renew our tradition of celebrating the achievements of Italian Americans and the contributions of our ancestors. To us, Columbus Day is not solely about Christopher Columbus, but it's an opportunity for Italian Americans to embrace our shared history and culture. Rhode Island, with nearly 1 in 5 residents claiming Italian ancestry, holds a prominent place in this heritage. Mayor Joseph Policina Jr.'s acceptance of the statue reflects our shared belief that Johnston will cherish and protect this symbol. I'm proud to join you in celebrating this event that honors Italian American accomplishments and cultures. Just remember, there are always going to be some people who want to take our history away from us. And we are not going to let them do it. Are we? No! Congratulations to the town of Johnston. Protect our heritage.
Well, thank you, Ambassador Paolino. He is the man. Bought and paid for it and donated. Another round of applause, I think, is warranted for that. My pleasure to bring up Representative Arthur Corvese. Rep. Thank you, Gene. Mayor Policina, Mayor Paolino, members of the Rhode Island House and Rhode Island Senate who are here today, Johnston dignitaries, honored guests, and the people of Johnston and all those who gather here today. It is my pleasure and honor today, along with my good friends and House colleagues, Representative Deborah Falella, Representative Edward Cardillo, and Representative Gregory Constantino, to bring the greetings and best wishes of House Speaker Joseph Shekarchi on this, the unveiling of the Christopher Columbus statue here in the great town of Johnston. No historical figure is without some measure of controversy. Such is the human condition. and so it is with Christopher Columbus. However, today, during this Columbus Day weekend, and through this commemoration of the Columbus statue, we celebrate not only the positive attributions of Columbus, but what he represents to Italians and Italian Americans, not only in the town of Johnston, not only throughout the state of Rhode Island, but throughout the many Italian American communities and enclaves throughout this country. Braving what was then the unknown, Columbus's voyages to the New World produced more than viable trade routes and a significant increase to the geographical knowledge of our world. He could have never realized his first steps on the soil of what would be later referred to as the Americas would, in the centuries to come, be a safe haven for the downtrodden, the disaffected, the discouraged of all nations. He could have never realized his first steps would be followed by so many of his countrymen, Italians who would come to this country for a better life for themselves, their children, and their children's children. He could have never realized his first steps would lead to so many Italians and Italian Americans contributing their time, their talents, and their very lives in making the United States of America the greatest country in the world. This is the true importance, the true significance, the true symbolism enshrined in the bronze figure we behold today. This statue of Christopher Columbus embodies far more than the accomplishments of a 15th century explorer. It is to be viewed, and should always be viewed, as a physical representation of the personification of all that is good, enduring, traditional, and timeless in the Italian heart, soul, and mind.
Yes.
It stands to represent every good Italian and Italian American in this great country of ours. It is not a statue, it is a statement. Mayor Policina, thank you for keeping this statement alive.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Corvese. Let me bring up Rhode Island's historian laureate, a man who knows more about history than we might ever know. Dr. Patrick Conley also runs the Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame. Dr. Conley.
Thank you very much, Gene. Mayor Policina, Senior and Junior, and my longtime friend and grantor of the statue, Mayor and Ambassador Joseph Paolino. Joseph was given the honor of delivering the principal address, as well he should, having donated this statue, saving this statue, and bringing it here to Johnston, where it will be appreciated, I think, more than in any other town in America. And in view of the fact that I was not the principal speaker, as I oft-times am, what I've done is prepare for you a poster, which was distributed as you came in, and it's appropriately entitled, "Columbus Has Landed in Johnston." And I cut my remarks by about 500%. You can take this home this evening, read it, and make superb bedtime reading. Also, I was instructed in coming here, and I was given 3 rules: be present, be brief, and then be seated. And this poster has helped with the brevity, but it has 3 major themes which I would like to address. The symbolism of the Columbus statue here is significant. It's on an island, and that's where Columbus first landed on October 12, 1492. He landed on an island in the Bahamas, and he named it San Salvador, Holy Savior. in honor of Jesus Christ, who had delivered his fleet safely across the ocean. I'm glad that there are members of the clergy here from the various churches in Johnston that would appreciate this as much as I think the rest of the audience does as well. So one of the main themes of my poster is the theme of religion. It was one of the primary motivations for Columbus undertaking his voyage to the New World. His name was Christopher, Christ bearer, and he took his name literally. So that's number one about Columbus. Number two, the voyages that he took, and there were 4 of them, opened up the age of discovery for Europe. And as the historian laureate of the state, that age of discovery has fascinated me from the time that I first began the study of history. The third theme is something that is very significant as well, and it's been mentioned by the other speakers, and that is the significance of Italy in that new age. Italy produced not only Christopher Columbus, but Giovanni and Sebastian Cabotto, of Amerigo Vespucci, and of Giovanni da Verrazzano. Vespucci gave his name to America. Verrazzano gave his name indirectly to Rhode Island, when in his journal of 1524, he likened Block Island to the island of Rhodes. And others seeing that journal named Aquidneck Island, Rhode Island. So right from the start, right from the get-go, the Italians opened up the age of discovery. And if you like traveling east, there's always Marco Polo of Venice. That was an inspiration to the 4 or 5 explorers, major ones, that I have just highlighted. But it's also a personal thing for me. The mayor thought that probably he was inviting a token Irishman here to the event. Patrick Connolly, my gosh. And I've written a book on the Irish in Rhode Island, but edited one on the Italians in Rhode Island. And I tell you why it's personal to me. Because in 1881, an individual by the name of Pasquale D'Estasio, my great-grandfather, migrated from Italy to the greater New Haven area. And so I have an Italian heritage as well that I'm extremely proud of, and therefore share that with many members here of the audience. And therefore, having expressed my sentiments both historical and personal, I'll adhere to the third rule and be seated. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Connolly. Also, now you all know the story, so repeat it to 10 people and then we'll be good. Our final speaker today is George Lazareschi, president of the Italo-American Club of Rhode Island. George?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. First, I would like to thank former Mayor Joseph Paolina, Jr. for preserving a piece of the Italian history. Thank you, Joe. Also, I would like to thank former Mayor Joseph Paolina Sr. and current Mayor Joseph Paolina Jr. for allowing Johnston to be the new home of Christopher Columbus statue. Thank you. I would like to thank all the dignitaries that are here today and my officers and board of directors of the Italo-American Club. I am proud to say that at the beginning stages of the sale of the Christopher Columbus statue, I was able to attend a meeting at Roger Williams Park Botanical Gardens with the other leaders of the Italian-American clubs. I am happy to say that we were able to convince former Mayor Jose Alorza and his committee to hold up the bid process of the statue to a later date. By the way, the committee was made up of not one Italian-American on the committee. So with that, they agreed to hold up the statue to a later date. So here we are today unveiling this historical statue in the town of Johnston in Johnston Memorial Park. Once again, thank you, Joseph Paolino Jr., for purchasing this statue and allowing us to preserve this part of history. And in closing, quick speech. Welcome home, Christopher Columbus. Thank you all.
Very nice, thank you. And there's other members of the club here with you. Well, folks, that concludes our speaking program. I want to thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoy the statue purchased by former Mayor Paolino. Thank you again, Mayor. Donated to the town of Johnston, accepted by Mayor Policina Jr. Thank you. And dedicated today to its new home, where it may continue to be the subject of peaceful debate and review and admiration for those who hold the Admiral in high regard. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for coming.
Hola, gracias.
Hey, you too. How's it going?
Well, I think I might be able to avoid that. I don't know. All right. That's okay. I'm going to
There you are. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. All right. I can't have a bunch of people.